Good evening, everybody. This is my second attempt at making a video. Well, almost third really, because I've been stopping and talking with people. It's about 6:30. It is the most beautiful, beautiful evening here. Absolutely gorgeous. The bluebells are almost out. So you can see that little misty blue happening just above the green. So I'll do a little bit of a close-up here so you can see. Can you see them now? They're beautiful. But it's going to be about another 48 hours, maybe 72 hours, if the weather holds good, because it's just beginning to warm up, before they open fully and you get that lovely carpet of blue. But anyway, this is the video I promised you, because I said I'd bring the camera down with me next time I came down. So I'm going to go back over to where I was the other day with the mobile phone, and of course making a live video, which, you know, the quality is never very good on a live video because just don't have the reception. Jack, this way, darling, come on. So, come on, this way. Come on, let's go over here. So, just looking for the wee track I went on. I think it's over here. So there's that little shelter, look. And I think that's the blackbird up there singing in the trees. Somewhere quite near at hand. I'm going to do one of those little circular things, look. Make you all dizzy. Oh, that's beautiful. It's like a kaleidoscope. Well, I needed to have a walk in the woods, and I needed to have the camera with me to make a nice video, because, you know, after that sad news yesterday. But life goes on. Life goes on. And it doesn't make anything better to be too sad for too long. Come on, Jack. And besides which, when you come out into the woodland, it's impossible to feel sad. I mean, look at this. It's magic. It's the best therapy anyone can have. So I'm hoping now with the camera to pick out the real depth of this sort of limestone. I'm calling it a limestone pit, but it's not actually a limestone pit. It's a bit of a dig out, where I'm thinking to myself that limestone has been quarried, and someone left a comment on that live video to say that this was probably a limestone plateau. Well, actually, you're right. Whoever left that comment, you're absolutely right. This whole area, going from here up towards Boyle, Jack, come on, up towards Boyle, is sitting on a limestone plateau. So, yeah. You know, I'm just going to follow this little path on down. I'm going to take a bit of a circuitous route back to there. Do you know, I could live in the woods. When I was a child, I used to, I don't know if anyone remembers the series on British television, Robin Hood. Just Robin Hood. And so, of course, this would have been during the late 50s, early 60s. And myself and my brothers, my sisters, and all the kids who lived nearby, we would go out up over the fields and we would play Robin Hood and his merry men. And of course I always wanted to be Robin Hood, but invariably I was placed into the role of Maid Marian. You know how sexism prevailed in those days. Whereas in fact I was much more of a tomboy. And I would take on anyone, with the old bows and arrows. I was quite daring. No problem climbing trees and digging out dens and, the whole thing. Jack! Just have to keep an eye on him. Don't want him to get lost or to go chasing anything. Not that he would chase anything, but... Look, there's another little den over there that someone's been making. Some beautiful primroses there. And see how blue the sky is. I think these are beech trees here. They have ferns growing out of the sides of them. Everything's so lush and so fertile, so green. Someone left a comment there. Was it on Facebook or Twitter? I can't remember. One of the social platforms just saying, how... Oh, I think it was Facebook. Saying how Ireland was one of her dream destinations because it was so green. Jack! Do you know you could walk for miles in these woods and you would keep being surprised because there's so many different parts of it and so many little sort of nooks and crannies that you just come upon. And there's some blackthorn blossom, the white blossom. Jack just adores coming down here. This way, Jack. But I don't want to go too deep into the woods. It's a beautiful tree there. The one covered in moss. It's completely covered. And there's the little tent, the little bivouac, I suppose it would be called. And that looks like wild garlic down there, look. Just there. It's lovely, the sun shining in on the trees. There's some bluebells fully open. And then all the beautiful, I think they're called ramsons. That's the wild garlic there. I think they're called ramsons anyway. And there's the remnants of another little shelter. And all tied together with string. Let's have a look through these trees here. Fearless Jack. Just me scratching my head. More wild garlic. I'll go back onto the little path. Good boy. Someone left a comment on today's video saying, why don't you get some pallets and make one of those garden seats for yourself? I laughed out loud when I read that. It's very funny. Because I was tempted to sort of leave a message like, and where do you think I would get the time to do that? Or indeed, the kind of physical strength now that's needed to do stuff like that, you know, ripping apart pallets and... Oh, excuse me, just while I go and put on my carpenter's hat. Yes, I can do this. Not. No, I certainly don't get the time for stuff like that. I have a list as long as my arm of things that I have to do, of work that I have to do. And to indulge time in making a swinging garden seat for myself is not really very high on my list. But actually it was very interesting, that comment, because can't remember your first name. I know your surname is Weaver, I think. You also said something about going back to using real dishes, and I was a little bit nonplussed with that, because I thought, what? I didn't understand it. I've never heard of anyone using paper plates in their home. I thought everyone used crockery. I mean, I've never used paper plates, not even when I've been camping with my children when they were small. It was always part of the camping thing that they take the dishes and that they wash them and sort all that out. I think the only time when I've ever used paper plates, and they've been paper plates, not plastic, has been at a really big children's party. You know, you'd have more than, say, 30 children. Where I've sort of hired a hall in order to have a children's party. But other than that, no. I've never actually come across anyone using disposable plates in their home. Because for a start, it would be very difficult laying the table with paper plates. It would seem to be sort of a strange thing to do. So that was a little bit amusing, really, to read that. But also quite interesting, because then it got me thinking that, you know, that there are people who use paper plates for their dinner or for eating with, which, anyway, I'll have to ponder on that one, or maybe not, as the case may be. It's not something that I want to ponder on. And then I think someone left a comment about Fukushima. Well, If you know me at all, if you've been following the Altona Cottage on social media in all its various guises for any length of time, you will know that I only ever address problems or things that I can possibly change, that I can have a hand in changing. There's very little I can do about Fukushima. Fukushima has happened and there will be cover-ups. Of course there will be. The world is absolutely jam-packed with cover-ups. But there is something we can do about plastics. On a personal level, we can just refuse. We can refuse them. We can refuse to take part in using them. Wherever practical. I mean, it's not always practical, but wherever we can, then we should and we will. Now, on that note, I'm going to bid you all a beautiful evening. Jack is eager now to go for a wee bit of a run, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take him for a nice little walk through the trees on the other side. And when I get home, I'll load this video up, and hopefully it won't take the 2 hours that my previous video took. Have a lovely evening, everyone. Blessings to you all.